Hey there. Um, I was wanting to do another video about marriage and divorce and that sort of thing, and so I jotted down some notes. Man, it's been a week or two ago, and just haven't made the opportunity to record anything, to share anything. There go my notes. I'm not going to be looking at them too much, um, but decided to record it. I came up here on this Sunday on a little hike, little walk near my house. I love this place. Nice little view of St. George over there, and just some cool rocks, cool little miniature canyon here where I like to come and have some peace. And figured I would record this up here. So the kind of thoughts that I had, it's about the impact of divorce on children, and but also kind of about the reasons for divorce and hoping to get people to pump the brakes if they're thinking about divorce. So in the 10 years or so that I spent working on actively representing people who are going through divorce and helping them through that, then I basically heard every reason for divorce. Some were good, many were bad reasons, and most were just unnecessary. And I don't know. You just kind of you hear it all, but regardless of the reason for divorce, 100% of the time it's impactful on the children. I'm talking about whether the children are minor children or adult children. Even on like some senior citizen divorces where they've got like very adult children with grandkids and stuff, it's still hard even on them. It's impactful. And so, but especially with young children, with minor children, then it's obviously not a good thing. And we all know, I mean, the research has said for years that children whose parents have gone through divorce, they have statistically a more difficult time, and statistically struggle more with different things, and have more difficult outcomes or worse outcomes long term into adulthood and that sort of thing. And in my observation, anecdotally, then I definitely believe it. I think it's for sure true. But so I heard something recently. I don't remember exactly where or who this was from. I could have been on a podcast, it could have been on social media, it could have been from church or a conference or something like that. I don't remember. But they basically had said that if you're going through divorce because just emotionally, and this is one that you hear a lot, like, I can't handle it anymore emotionally. It's, my spouse is mean, or she's crazy, or he's mean, or he's addicted to pornography, or whatever it is. But they're saying, I just can't deal with it anymore. I can't deal with it emotionally. I want to find happiness. I want to start over. I want whatever it is. So the thing that I had heard was somebody putting it this way, that if you can't emotionally handle the situation, and so you're going through divorce to try to improve your emotional situation, that what you're really doing is you're shifting that emotional burden from yourself onto your children. Because if you think it's difficult for you to handle this emotional situation within the marriage, within the household, that sort of thing, which I'm not saying is easy. Marriage is hard at times, and it can be hard for a long time. But you're shifting that emotional burden, is what this person said, to your children, who are not as well equipped as you are as an adult to deal with those emotional consequences. And when I heard that, I mean, it was 100% true. The children going through divorce, absolutely, they have an emotional burden that they're now taking on as their parents seek to find happiness or peace or whatever they believe it is. And most of the time, I think it's a belief and it's not a reality. And I think that I've heard some research over the years of studying with people who are having some marriage problems, and which ones got divorced and which ones worked it out. And I think within a year or two of the divorce, then there was maybe even like amongst the divorced people, then it was more peaceful or something like that, or maybe it was happiness they were gauging. And then, but after like 5 years, then the people who had stayed married and had kind of dealt with their difficulties, then they were like way further in happiness, like further above, like more happy than the people who had gone through divorce. Because the problems that are within the marriage especially if you've got kids, they follow you afterward, and you're just dealing with new problems and more problems. But the children are now dealing with bigger and more problems than they've had to deal with before, and they're not, it's not made to be that way, and they're not really equipped for that. They're going through, we look back and we think, oh, they have it so easy going through school, elementary school, middle school, even middle school years. Like, oh, that's not that bad. Like, if you only knew what adulthood was like, and yeah, adulthood's tough, but these kids don't have fully developed brains, of course. They're going through puberty in their teenage years, and they're not experienced in the world and that sort of thing. And so the burden of having your parents not just fighting, but now separating. Now, where's mom? Where's dad? Now having two households, maybe seeing mom, during the week and dad only on weekends, or somebody moves away and now I'm only seeing my other parent a few times a year or for half the summer or that sort of thing. Man, whatever it is, all of a sudden you go from a two-parent household to a one-parent household and you only see your other parent however often, even if it's a 50-50. You're still just, this week with mom, this week with dad, or these 2 days with mom, these 2 days with dad, and back and forth, back and forth. That really is shifting the burden from the parent to try to have, try to find their own peace or whatever, their own happiness. They're placing that burden and that problem down onto the kids who are not as well equipped to deal with it. Are kids resilient? Yeah, they are. They're pretty resilient. But it's not fair to them. It's just not. And I hear a lot of people, I've heard over the years, a lot of people justify and say, well, no, in my situation, it's better for the kids if we separate, if we divorce, because it's just such a high conflict, stressful thing. And it's not good for the kids to hear us fighting and see us fighting and that sort of thing. And you're right, it's not. It's not good for the kids to hear and see you fighting, especially if it's really bad. But most of the time, the people who are saying that, it's just an excuse. Most of the time, the separation and the divorce is a lot worse than whatever temporary fighting there would be. And I've got a lot of people, I'm sure, that'll hear this and say, well, it wasn't temporary for me. Again, everybody's going to come up with their own justification. And I'm not here to judge everybody who's gone through divorce, but really what I'm trying to do is anybody who's considering that or having a struggle, to really think twice. And I'm not saying anything novel or anything new, but this is my perspective from representing people in divorce for 10 years, and now 2 or 3 more years of just dealing with child custody issues afterward. And I also I represent children as a guardian ad litem, as a private guardian ad litem, and children whose parents either have or are currently going through divorce. And it's tough. It's really tough on them. No question about it. And they're caught in the middle. And then the people who have been divorced and they're separated, sometimes there can be some good co-parenting, and that's wonderful when that happens. A lot of times that's not the case, and there's just continued fighting afterward. The fact that I can make a whole, career now on post-divorce, child custody stuff. I mean, it kind of speaks volumes. There's plenty of ongoing problems out there where parents just keep fighting and the kids are always in the middle. So again, bringing it back. So when I heard this person say this, I thought, yep, that's absolutely true. That's shifting the emotional burden onto these kids, and it's not fair to them. And I view it kind of as a form of child sacrifice, where I'm now going to, instead of sacrificing for my kids and doing the tough things to help my kids to have a better situation, I am putting my tough situation onto my kids so that I can have what I believe is a better situation. Again, I think it's only a belief and a perception. I don't think most of the time, I don't think it's reality. Of course, I'm not talking about when there's real abuse going on and that sort of thing. But still, the effect on the kids is the same. And some people, it's kind of like people who justify legal abortion for everyone just because 1% of abortions are from rape situations. But then they justify it for the other 99%. And it's just extremely rare. It's extremely rare when a divorce is actually necessary or actually would be beneficial or best for the kids. Now, some people are going to say, well, that's my situation. Well, most likely, no. Most likely it's not your situation. So I would just encourage everybody, anybody who's thinking about that, anybody who's struggling, get some counseling, do some marriage counseling, do some breathing, have some patience. And what I think all of us need to do, myself included, is when we have a problem, instead of just focusing on the other person and whatever, like, think about what can I do better? What can I do to improve the situation? What can I do to improve myself? What deficiencies do I have? Because we all have them. We've all got flaws. We're all imperfect. That's not to say that every single situation is equal, but there always is room for improvement. And instead of complaining about the other person or complaining about things, then do some self-reflection on, okay, well, what can I do better? What can I have control over? And then try to do that. And when I say control over something, I mean with yourself. I don't mean trying to control the other person. But anyway, I wanted to kind of end with part of the song from Rodney Atkins, If You're Going Through Hell. And I think it's applicable to this kind of situation if you're having a hard time. And I may butcher this completely, but he says in his song, if you're going through hell, keep on going. Don't slow down. If you're scared, don't show it. You might get out before the devil even knows you're there. And I think another verse, something about face that fire, walk right through it. Something, you might get out before the devil even knows you're there. And I think that kind of applies when we're going through hell within our marriages or families. Instead of just laying down and giving up and letting these demons consume, keep going, push through it, figure out what you need to do better, and try to help fix it. Again, go to the marriage counseling, work with people, try to improve yourself, try to have yourself more peaceful and that sort of thing. And you could probably get through it. Those people on the study that I've heard about happiness after the 3 or 5 years, whatever it is afterward, they went through that fire and they came out on average more happy than those who had gone through the divorce. And so anyway, those are my thoughts. I encourage you to have some self-reflection and to really not to sacrifice your kids for your own peace or happiness, but to sacrifice for your children's peace and happiness. And that's my thoughts for today.